Okay, let's be real. NFL Week 6 is just pure chaos, right? Favorites are dropping like flies, underdogs are having their day, and it's getting tougher and tougher to figure out what's real and what's just, well, noise. So what we're going to do here is cut right through all that. We're going to hunt for the clear, data-driven signals that tell us what's really going on. And that's the big question, isn't it? When everything seems so unpredictable, where are those hidden signals? Where are the little nuggets of data that can tell the true story of a matchup before it even kicks off? To find them, we've got to start by looking at the big picture. You see, before we can find the signal, we have to understand the noise. And man, right now, the NFL is all about one thing: parity. It just feels like anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday, and the standings are proof of that. I mean, just look at the state of the league. It's wild. The Eagles, who were the last undefeated domino, finally tipped over. On the other end, you've only got one team left without a win: the Jets. You've got perennial powerhouses like the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 2-3, while teams like the Lions and the Colts are shocking everybody at 4-1. This is the chaos we have to filter. All right, so our first major signal, let's call it the injury domino effect. This is when a single superstar going down doesn't just weaken a team. No, it completely rewrites the entire matchup, creating huge opportunities that just weren't there before.
And Exhibit A for this is the Cowboys versus Panthers game. This one is all about what we're calling the CeeDee Lamb effect. The Cowboys' star receiver is out, and his absence might just be the single most important factor in any game happening this week.
You might be thinking, okay, so one receiver is out. How big of a deal can it be? Well, look at this number. This is the Dallas Cowboys' all-time record in games where CeeDee Lamb doesn't play. 0 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. It's not just that they're worse without him. They literally haven't won a game. His presence isn't a bonus, it's essential. And here's why that's such a huge problem for Dallas. Their whole identity is built on their #1 ranked offense. But without Lamb, who commands double teams and opens up the entire field, that offense is suddenly looking pretty vulnerable. He's the key that unlocks the whole thing. And now he's gone, just as they're facing a Panthers team that's a completely different animal at home with a tough run defense that can now key in on everyone else. And you know what? We're seeing this exact same domino effect play out in another huge game, the Rams versus the Ravens. Once again, a superstar injury is the entire story, but this time it's the guy under center. I mean, the setup here is about as straightforward as it gets. You've got the Los Angeles Rams, who are bringing the NFL's second-best offense to the party. And who are they facing? A Baltimore Ravens team that's expected to be without its heart and soul quarterback Lamar Jackson. But it gets so much worse for Baltimore. It's not just about their offense. Because of a whole slew of other injuries, their defense has absolutely fallen apart. Just look at these numbers. They're at or near the very bottom of the league in every important category. Dead last in points allowed, 31st in yards. They've given up the most touchdowns in the league. For a high-flying offense like the Rams, this is, well, it's a dream matchup. Okay, let's move on to our second signal. We're shifting from injured superstars to just pure hard data. These are the matchups where the numbers are so lopsided in one key area that they're practically screaming the outcome at you. Check this out, 21. What is that? That's how many sacks the Denver Broncos defense has already piled up through 5 games. We're talking about the most ferocious pass rush in the entire league, and it's not even close. So, who's the unlucky team that gets to face this monster of a pass rush this week? None other than the New York Jets, an O-line that has given up more pressures on their quarterback than anyone else in the NFL. Seriously, this isn't just a mismatch. This is like a canyon. It is the biggest statistical gap you will find on the entire Week 6 schedule. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse for them, get this. The Jets are the first team in modern NFL history, listen to this, to have 0 defensive takeaways through 5 games. Not a single pick, not one fumble recovery. Think about that. When your defense can't get you extra possessions and your offense can't protect the quarterback, your chances of winning just crater. All right, for our last signal, we're heading to prime time. Under the bright lights, this is where we look for those matchups where the data whispers, hey, that favorite, the team everyone thinks is a lock, they might be in some serious trouble. And that brings us to the Sunday night showdown, Lions at Chiefs. What a game this is going to be. You've got the Detroit Lions, who, believe it or not, have the #1 scoring offense in the entire NFL. And they're walking into Arrowhead to play a Chiefs team that, well, by their ridiculously high standards, they've just looked vulnerable. And the data, it builds a really strong case for an upset here. First off, did you know Jared Goff has never lost to Patrick Mahomes? He's 2-0. Then you look at the betting trends. The Lions are money against the spread, while the Chiefs almost never cover at home. And maybe the biggest factor, the Lions just don't give the ball away. They lead the league in turnover differential. That's a winning formula. And you know, this whole idea of a vulnerable favorite, it brings us full circle right back to that first game. This quote really nails it. The betting market just hasn't fully grasped how much the Cowboys' offense changes without CeeDee Lamb. When you combine that with Carolina's home field advantage, you've got another game screaming upset alert.
Okay, so we've waded through a ton of noise. What did we find? What are the actual signals you should be looking for in Week 6? Let's break it all down.
Think of it like 3 lenses you can use to watch the games this weekend. First, superstar absences redefine everything. It's not just about one missing player, it's about the ripple effect, like we saw with the Cowboys and Ravens. Second, the real game is won and lost in the trenches. That Broncos pass rush versus the Jets O-line is the whole story. And third, always look for those situational advantages, like a dominant home team facing a road favorite that might not be as good as its reputation. And that's really the big takeaway I want to leave you with. In a league that feels so random, the data can show you where the cracks are forming. So the real question for you is, which one of this week's sure things do you think is standing on the most unstable ground and is about to crack?